This zendo, with its clay walls, its beautiful golden flecks of straw, its changing light, the bell, the bird song, serves as an anchor for us all. The image of our sitting, our bowing, our walking reaches out in support. People online say it can be a lifeline for long sitting, calling us back again and again. But this time, sitting in the zendo, distanced, with masks, with windows wide open, doors open no matter the temperature, with dwindling numbers, the dynamic shifted. The funneling out of support turned. It was as if the cloud embraced us. For all the uncertainty and concern, the session continued deep. One sitting. And that last full day was really the quietest zendo ever. So thank you for the support, seen and unseen, and for this shared practice. For the last 3 months, we've been exploring the theme of beginner's mind, tasting it from various angles, embodying it, returning to it. Beginner's mind. And now, with the beginning of April, we're crossing over into the theme for the second quarter of the year at Mountain Cloud, living Zen. Like stepping into a boat deep enough to hold all our practice and wide enough to sail across the waters of the next 3 months. I'm reminded of a line from a koan, beautiful verse, in a case that we take up from time to time. That one line is, "Under the shadowless tree, all people are in one boat." It's actually an image of zazen, of this sitting, and of our life. Living Zen. From a practice perspective, this is a pointer. Let your practice and your life be one unfolding, like that one boat. Let what happens on the cushion penetrate your life. Soak it like mist. Let it inform your experience. Taste and see how practice realization shows up moment to moment. But beyond an instruction or an invitation, living Zen points to the absolute fact of what this practice is, what we are. As Joshu or Joshu said, it's not zazen, it's alive. It's alive. For tonight, hoping to get a sense of what this alive is, what it implies about our life and our practice, I'd like to revisit the koan we took up on that last day of the spring session, a koan about life and death. And then I'd like to look together at 3 death poems from 3 great masters whose lives and teaching follow in the wake of Joshu. We kept company all week long this time. Joshu. So first, the koan. For some of you, a reminder, though it's always, I'm amazed, it's always fresh. And for others, maybe new. This is case 3 in Dogen's collection of 300 koans, that Shobogenzo koans, treasury of the true Dharma eye. And it's an exchange between Joshu and his master, Nansen or Nanquan, when Nansen is old and approaching death. Here's the case. Joshu asked his teacher, Nansen, sorry, I'm using the Japanese names, they're so familiar. Joshu asked his teacher, Nanquan, where will the one who goes, where will the one who knows go? Where will the one who knows go? And Nansen said, to a donor's house near the mountain and become a water buffalo. Joshu thanked him for his teaching. Nansen said, late last night, the moonlight came through the window. That's it. Where will the one who knows go? The one who knows, in this case, is Nansen. Nansen, for whom Joshu has great respect and love, 40 years his student. To a donor's house near the mountain and become a water buffalo, says Nansen. It's a beautiful expression, poetic, and also actually showing the place he's going. Showing how he's going even, to a donor's house near the mountain. Just that sound. Where are we going when we die? At the end of each day, every full day of session, we have this beautiful tradition of hearing the night verse called out, ancient tradition. Dogen actually wrote the seed for this verse that we hear. It goes back that far. Here, the first line that we hear is, the matter of life and death is of prime importance. Could be, or implied in that is, resolving the matter of life and death is of prime importance. This life and death, always written with hyphens, is a translation of a Japanese word, shoji. One word, sho, to live or to be born, and ji, to die or to be dead. Okumura Roshi has this nice book, Realizing Genjo Koan, where he sort of unpacks a bit the multivalence of the term shoji in this context of Zen practice. And for him, in the context of Buddhism. Shoji can refer to the period of time between birth and death. It can refer to the process of myriad beings being born, living, and dying over and over again, if you believe in rebirth, or just that ongoing process. Shoji can also refer to the arising and passing away of life in this present moment. This moment. Life, death. Life, death. Where will you go when you die? We're going to a donor's house. And where are we now? A donor, someone who gives you something. Who is it that's giving us all that we have here and now? Who is that? What? What is that? Who is it at this moment? Can you sense it? Taste it? What if the donor Nansen is pointing to is this empty, infinite fact of who we truly are? What Zen calls original nature, true nature, or sometimes just radiance. This one radiant, nothing at all. I want to say nothing at allness, but it's just not even a thing. The house Nansen refers to, the donor's house, is vast and infinitely dynamic, and we're in it now, fully immersed in the midst. And when we die, no matter what else we may think will happen, we stay in the donor's house. There's just no place to divide it. This alive. Why are we here? How are we here? What are we to make of it? There is beauty, for sure. Distinct, fleeting, luminous, and there is suffering. Immeasurable suffering. The human condition and the conditioning we add. Resolving all suffering. The vow of a lifetime, all time, the vow of a bodhisattva in life, and as Nansen says to Joshu, in death. Not even room for a hyphen. This, not to. Where are you going? To a donor's house near the mountain and become a water buffalo. I mentioned last time that the mountain signals the place where all the ancients are. The ancients, the masters, the ancestors. They're all at this mountain, helping us, supporting us in the midst of this suffering. I just flashed on calling out, Kon Roshi, come and help. Somehow, instantly, or already, What about the water buffalo? Or sometimes translated ox. A service animal plowing fields, carrying things. Or the ox that figures in the 10 ox herding pictures. What is it to see that ox? Or to ride it home? Joshu thanks Nansen for his answer. And Nansen responds in kind. Last night the moonlight came in through the window. They're sharing this world, this life-death world, this one illumining. When Nansen became ill, he said to his monks, "The star's light is dim but eternal. Don't say that I'm coming or going." The record says, when he finished speaking, the master died. We don't have dying words from Joshu, just at age 120, he laid down on his right side and died. Dogen was very well versed in the masters. He admired 3 of them enough to call them Old Buddha. High praise. First among these is Teisho, Joshu, Old Buddha, Ancient Buddha. And then along with him, Hongji, or if you know the Japanese names, Wanshi, the abbot of Tiantong Temple, a generation or so before Rujing, Dogen's Chinese master. So I'd like to turn now and take a look at the death poems of Hongji, Rujing, and Dogen. They're short poems. Just marvel at these towering figures. And again, that phrase, all in one boat. So just a word about death poems. The tradition is for the poem to include 2 elements. So one would be the character of a master's enlightenment experience. And then the other element is how they see death. So how they see this world, this alive world, this actually undying world, and what they anticipate in death. What happens? So I'm going to read them in a row just to catch the flavor, the similarities and the distinctions, and then just highlight these different bits in each. So, Hongji, Wanshi. Again, this abbot at Tiantong Temple, I'll say a bit more about it. Here's his poem. Empty flowers of an illusory dream. 67 years. A white bird disappears in the mist. Autumn waters touch the sky. Here's Rujing. For 66 years, committing terrible sins against heaven, now leaping beyond, while still alive, plunging into the yellow springs. Amazing. I used to believe that life and death were unrelated. And here's Dogen. For 54 years, following the way of heaven, now leaping beyond, shattering every barrier. Amazing to cast off all attachments while still alive, plunging into the yellow springs. So this yellow springs in Chinese culture is a word for death. But it also is that place of grief on the death of a loved one, the yellow springs. In 1129, when he was 38 years old, Hongji started teaching at the monastery on Mountain Tiantong. He stayed there for about 30 years. And he's the one during that time who compiled the Shoyoroku, this book of equanimity. I wrote a verse for each of those 100 cases. It's said that he just remained on the mountain until right before he died, he ventures down to bid farewell to his supporters. Aside from Dogen's own master, Rujing, Dogen quotes Wanshi more, or Hongshi, than any other master in his work. Very beautiful to see his appreciation and how he lifts this up in response. So let's have a look at this life-death, this fact that's springing for each of these out of their own experience. Hongshi's summation of his awakening, that one line, empty flowers of an illusory dream. Wow. That's his experience. Everything is empty. This desk, empty. That sound, the late daylight, the breeze through the window, already gone. As vivid and vaporous as a dream. When I was putting this together, I recalled the gift of a poem, recent gift from a student. These just come. Who had recalled, for him, the doorbell in his childhood home. Actually been kind of come to life for him in his practice with a koan. And he sent this little poem. What is a memory? An IOU, but no I, or you. Nothing owed, but a debt to the doorbell, singing the whole world. Empty flowers of an illusory dream. Hongji is gone. His teaching is all about what's called silent illumination. Turn the light around and shine it inward. This one radiance, no boundary, no one there. And it is this. And then there's Rujing, the abbot at Tiantong, after, I think there was another in between, but not long after Hongji. Dogen's teacher. And here's his awakening. Amazing. I used to believe that life and death were unrelated. Rujing wakes up to no separation. But there's a really fun story, just briefly, about his initial awakening experience. He goes to the monastery, and the abbot receives him and assigns him the job, samu, of cleaning the toilets, which would have been, a pretty down and dirty job back then. Early 13th century. And the abbot also gives Rujing a koan. How can you clean what has never been defiled? How can you clean what was never dirtied? So there he is, day after day, cleaning the toilets, outhouses. How can you clean it? You cannot clean emptiness. There's nothing there to clean, and you can't clean perfection. You can't. It's complete, it's whole. How can you clean anything when you're down in the muck, cleaning what may be the stinkiest part of the house? Good koan. He worked with it for 3 years. And out of that, had an experience. He just saw through this. And then maybe later, yet again, clarifying, deepening this matter of life and death. He's the one then that says what this is. Fallen away. Fallen away. And he passed it on to Dogen. For Dogen, awakening, amazing to cast off all attachments. Cast off everything. Body and mind fallen away. So I'm going to just circle back now to pick up the other pieces of these verses just to bring it together. Soak in what they say about death. Where does the one who knows go? For Hongji, a white bird disappeared in the mist. Hongji is that white bird. Empty. Autumn waters touch the sky. And this is so near to how Hongji describes Zazen. There's this beautiful long poem, we won't go there, but in the Zazen Shen, where Dogen writes his own version that's like an encomium to Wanshi, to Hongji. But just this line from Hongji describing Zazen, our sitting. The sky is vast and boundless, where the bird flies away and disappears. Vast and boundless. This. And then about his coming death. Here's Rujing. Committing terrible sins against heaven. Committing terrible sins against heaven, now leaping beyond while still alive, plunging into the yellow springs. Sins might be misleading. Rujing is talking about all this separation that we feel. that we suffer, that we concoct and project. Suffering and the cause of suffering. He's not talking about his own separation. That is so done. He's pointing to this one body of suffering. This is my body, committing terrible sins against heaven. It's for all of us. Taking it on. How can he not? And leaping beyond, still alive, leaping into death. Leaping. Right here. And then Dogen follows his master's pattern with his own freedom, following the way of heaven. He's not taking on terrible sins against heaven. Dogen is at large in the great dynamism of this constant change. What is death? As we begin this Living Zen quarter, what remarkably, distinctly, poignantly is this life? Now leaping beyond, shattering every barrier. What if the beyond is here? Shattering any possibility of separation. It's actually not so. Amazing to cast off all attachments. Where will the one who knows go? To the donor's house. On this cushion. This endless exploration. What a life. And thank you for this shared practice.